Hi, Andy here from Aurora Productions. I want to go through how I made this 3D laser cut map. I'm kind of working backwards. I've done a lot of things before this, and I found this technique online, and I thought I'd give it a go. And this is my first map. So I did it of my own locality, which has a lot of water in it, being Lake District, Finland. So I want to take you through the process. Now, I started to laser etch first of all. I hadn't done any cutting before now. I've got access to a 20-watt CO2 laser, and you can do engraving and cutting on it. But until this point, I hadn't done any cutting. So it's a bit of a first for me. And I started out doing designs on my oak boxes that I use for the bases, really for the epoxy resin table lamps. I had fabulous results with the fractal pattern on an oak box. That just blew my mind. It was just so good. Instead of using like high voltage electrodes, which can be lethal, I thought, well, why not take that pattern and etch it into a box and into like some wood and see how it goes. And it was fantastic. A little bit later on, I thought, okay, well, I did my logo, the Aurora Productions logo, on both the boxes and on a piece of birch ply. They came up perfectly. Such good fun. So I thought, well, I was just looking around, just browsing around, and I found you could do maps, and it's quite a popular thing to do maps, but I hadn't actually seen anything like that was cut until browsing the internet and browsing YouTube, and then sort of being trying to find out what you can do with lasers. A lot of the guys where I use the laser at Hack Lab have they all do they've done a few maps and bits and pieces. So but they will do etching, and I don't think they'd ever done like a laser cut 3D map like this one. So I'm the first in my area to do this. Now the thing is, it was a bit of a process, to be honest. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't just straightforward as they make it out to be. I mean, if it looks simple, it probably isn't, right? And it wasn't. It did have its challenges, and I wanted to just see it through. Basically, I started out with 4mm birch ply, and I etched on first the roads and the railways, and I went to Jazzy Maps, where you can take a Google map and you can strip out the information that you don't want. So I took out all the labels and lots of things that like just were cluttering up the map. So that was basically my etch. I got my piece of wood, my 4mm ply, like I say, and I placed that in the laser, and I did the etching. I got all the roads and the bridges and all the bits and pieces. Turned my map image into a vector image, which essentially turns it into like a grayscale line drawing. So then what you can do from all the water parts, you need to turn those into a cut line, which means you turn them into a red line so that the laser focuses its energy only into that part, and therefore it cuts it. And we've got like a power dial. You can dial it up or dial it down. It is recommended that like the power settings shouldn't be too high, because you don't want to break the laser by having lots of flames and too much smoke billowing out. Although it's got an extraction unit inside, it's not all that bad. But I ended up doing about like 4 passes, and then I found that when it got charred, the laser wouldn't actually do anything. It just wouldn't fire. So after about 4 passes, I took the piece out and think, well, what am I going to do now? Took it home, and I got a fine flat blade screwdriver and used it as a chisel and just chipped out all the way around those laser cut edges. It took a couple of hours, and there was a lesson in there, I'll get back to that later, but the point was that I managed to chisel it all out, and it was a little bit rough. So I just went around all the edges with a piece of sandpaper screwed up into a round cylinder, and just like sort of deburred all the edges. So there were like the charred or the burnt like edges with my sanded edges. So once I'd got them into like sort of a pretty respectable edge all the way around, I just took a black marker and just went all the way around and just blacked around all the edges, which neatened it up perfectly. And then it was a case of mounting it onto a piece of blue card behind it to represent the water, and put it all together. It's kind of like a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle. You know, you take out the bits that you've cut and the little island in the lake. You know, you have to make sure that you don't break that, and then put it in place, and then start gluing them in place. I mean, you can use wood glue, you can use water-based glue, wood glue, PVA, whatever. But I actually use contact adhesive, put them in place, put the contact adhesive on, and then like stuck them in place, and that worked out very, very well. So then I got the major components in place, in the right place. I had to mark out a few pieces and get them in the right place, and then mounted the whole thing on a piece of whiteboard, on hardboard, so that it's a nice flat area. So then the next operation was to make the frame for it. So I just got some pine square profile, ran it over the circular saw to give me the right depth, so that it's like a negative way of doing framing. The beveled edge sits on the back and the front face is along the edges. Okay, so I had to fit all that together and then paint it all black. And then once it was all painted and dried, it was time to fix it to the frame, and I used wood glue for that, wood on wood, and used the weight on top just to hold it down, give it some pressure so that the wood can, you know, set together with the frame and the backing board, and it sets nice and flat. So the end result, I'm really, really happy with. It's natural finished birch ply. It's not treated anyway. It's like I did try to make the water a little bit more glossy. I used some mica powder that I had and like mixed it with some acrylic medium that I had and mixed that in, and that was actually a fail. So I took it off and did it again. And yeah, so I had to take that off, and then I just thought the wooden birch mat part is actually matte. So let's go with like the matte water as well in the background. So I just got another piece of blue card. It did it again. And that worked perfectly. I thought, right, okay, let's not mess with it too much. It's simple. It turned out really, really well. You know, I put all the components together, put the frame on, and couldn't be happier. I mean, it's amazing. What I would do differently next time is to get some very thin ply. It would be birch ply again, because I think I'm going to keep it like sort of native to Finland, okay, because it's where I live. So I'm going to get some thinner, much thinner ply, which would enable the laser cutter that I use. It's a K20, which is like a 20-watt CO2 laser, and that essentially cuts out, that would be able to handle like the cutting process, because the problem normally is that with the thickness of the ply is the glue in between, and it kind of like sort of doesn't handle that too well. So if there's like 0.5 mil thick 3-ply ply, right? I mean, I didn't even know you could get that sort of stuff. So I mean, I'll try like 1 mil ply as well. I mean, I think thicker might be a little bit better. Then that will be quicker, because the laser will be able to cut it really, really easy. So that's what I'm going to do next. And then it was just a case of like hanging it up on the wall, and everybody's going, wow, we love it. And it's amazing. I'm going to do more maps. So if you want a map, let me know, of your locality, or of a special place of interest that you have, or anything like that. Just let me know. Send me the geo coordinates on the Google map, and I can take it from there. So you're going to see more of these maps. I think they're fun to do. Everybody seems to love them. I love them. It's an interesting, reasonably sort of quick process. When I get the right ply, of course, it's going to be much quicker, because then I don't have to chisel the rest out by hand. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. More projects to come. I've done lots of like river lamps, what I call river lamps. To take a river table, flip it up from the horizontal to the vertically, put a base on it, and like sort of a similar idea, light it, backlight it with LEDs. I've got a table lamp version as well, which uplights from the oak base, and it's all like laser etched with my logo on and everything like that. So those are to come, and I've got absolutely tons of content about that, and they will be coming up on my Aurora Productions Finland YouTube channel, and coming soon is my Instagram channel especially for this. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.